Germany suffers is something that people like to toss around when referring to the alleged impartiality of the game devs towards German players. This is basically the German counterpart to Russian bias. This is due to a myriad of factors such as German vehicles being grossly undertiered, having better variants of other vehicles, and even subjective factors like better RNG, survivability, and so on. The term Germany suffers is derived from the complaints of certain German players that their vehicles are somewhat underpowered and in turn are requesting some over the top change to the game, such as the time a German player wanted the Challenger 3 with Rheinmetall L55 to be in the German tree rather than the British tree. This made me want to look at why Germany players would think that they are suffering and why the rest of the community think there is impartiality towards Germany. This will be a first part of the series of Why Nation Suffers videos where we take a look at the weak points of nations in War Thunder to show in what aspects they may consider themselves to be suffering. This week it's Germany. Next week it will be Britain because I plan it as a response to the European Canadians' Why Does Gaijin Hate Britain video. Germany is one of the largest tech trees in War Thunder. They have around 161 aircraft excluding helicopters and 144 ground vehicles. These include the premiums. For that reason, it is considered one of the big four nations along with the United States, USSR, and Great Britain. Yes, the British are part of the big four. Germany is also one of the first ever tank tech trees in War Thunder alongside the USSR, being the first two tank trees during the ground forces beta. To that end, Germany attracts a lot of players. Germany is arguably the most popular nation in game. While I personally don't have the data to actually know how many players started with or have played Germany, Germany is always the top tree between the US and USSR in air RB, ground RB, and naval RBQs. Thanks, Prince Eugen Pack. Because Germany is swarmed with so many players, both beginner and veteran, the statistics-based matchmaking that War Thunder uses in determining battle ratings will be skewed because more players are simply dying in German vehicles. And because they use raw statistics without any context, they take the impression that deaths in this vehicle are just caused by poor vehicle performance rather than the fact that there are just so many people playing this vehicle. Here's a visualization. Imagine 10 people play an American vehicle in a random set of games. 4 of them are destroyed by tanks, 2 of them are destroyed by close air support, and just for the sake of argument and statistical probability, 1 is jayed out from his vehicle, destroyed by artillery, or the game crashed. That is 7 tank deaths. Now imagine that on a German vehicle where there are twice the amount of people playing. Take 20 tanks and retain the same ratio. That's 8 dead to tanks, 4 dead to close air support, and 2 to the miscellaneous factors. That's 14 deaths. The game doesn't take into account how many players a certain nation has, and that skews their statistics. I know what you're saying. Doc, each game has a fixed amount of players anyway. The game just won't let that many people queue Germany. Okay, fair. Now let me ask you, how many matches in ground RB in general do you see that's Germany only? Compare that to the amount of nations in the other team. With War Thunder having 10 nations, you expect it to be 5 nations versus 5 nations at most. But no, it's Germany, another nation, versus either USSR or US with UK, France, Sweden, and China, or Italy, or Japan. More German vehicles are on each team compared to other nations. Now multiply that to the tons of matches in ground RB at that battle rating or other battle ratings, and you see why statistics tend to be skewed towards the Germans. Thankfully, the devs are steering away from statistics when it comes to matchmaking average vehicles of the same battle rating. So yes, with that many players, you'd expect there should be at least an equivalent amount of wins and kills to losses and deaths, right? Except that a lot of these players are beginners. They've either recently purchased the Term 3, Leopard 2A4 Premium, Leopard 1A1 L44, or they just researched a Tiger 1, or their squadron grinded out the Leopard 2PL for him. Now, one big problem with the Tiger H1 is that it's such a huge leap in battle ratings that Germany players don't experience getting up-tiered to the Tiger's BR to see what it faces. The M4 line in the US tech tree goes from the M4A1 at 3.3, M437, M4A2 at 4.0, A176 at 4.7, A276 at 5.0, and so on. Every step of the way, there's a gradual battle rating shift that takes players to new up-tiers slowly but surely. Germany's main tanks, the Tigers and Panthers, are at 5.0 to 5.7, when the tanks before them are 3.3 and 3.7. Germany simply does not prepare players for the new environment they will be in when they put their 5.3 lineup. Sure, you have vehicles like the Stug 3 up to the Panzer 470 that has some semblance of progression, or even vehicles like the Sturm Mill or the Dickermax, but not a majority of players would take open-top TDs only, or the Panzers, over a Panther Tiger lineup. Then there's the Leopard 2PL. I know you can say the same for the M1A1 AIM, T80 UK, and Swedish T80U, but the fact that Germany is a part of them, let alone the fact that the 2PL is one of the most popular squadron vehicles, lends credence to the fact that one Death Levers form a good part of teams at top tier. There should really be no mystery why German players think they're suffering. So as a conclusion, one facet of German suffering lies in how many players it has, and to an extension how many beginners are playing Germany that aren't familiar with the techniques and meta of Ground RB. Now let's move on to examining the tech tree and its vehicles, to see if is it the vehicle's problem or is it just really a player problem. The new one is there's something we call the Germany dilemma. And the Germany dilemma is stated as follows. Are German vehicles good because they are under-tiered? Or are German vehicles under-tiered because they are good? If the former is true, that means Germany truly suffers. And if the latter is true, then that means there's German bias. These are two arguments I hear from players when they want to justify their opinions on German players and vehicles. Hence, the Germany main meme was born. The Germany main insult refers to players' very poor statistics and vehicles often seen as decent or even good on paper. For example, if a player has negative kill death in the Tiger 1 or Tiger 2, that's a certified Germany main moment. So that takes into account the question, is it the fault of German vehicles or is it really just a Germany main moment? Germany has some of the best vehicles in their respective battle ratings. At top tier, the Leopard 2A6 is the highest penetrating APF SDS round, as well as some of the best turret armor in game. The hull armor is probably only beat by the Stridsvan 122s, but the Puma, Baglight Panzer 57, and Radkampf Wagen 90 are easily some of the game's best light tanks, bar none. The Tigers and Panthers form a very good lineup at 5.7, and the low tier 20mm are insanely good at low tier ground RB. There's also the Oswin 2, which doesn't have to be real to be absolutely overpowered. What was Gaijin thinking with the Oswin 2, really? For aircraft, the battle ratings of the BF-109s is one of the best battle ratings to play in for Germany. From 4.0 to 5.7, the BF-109s are some of the most versatile aircraft in those battle ratings. Above that, at 6.0, you got the TA-152, which is basically hell on props with how good they are, and it's air spawn. Then there's the issue of East Germany having really great aircraft to give Germany. The MiG-15 Biz, MiG-21 MF, the MiG-29. But West Germany aircraft is also good, actually, considering the fact that the CL-13A Mark V held the spot of the most powerful saber in-game until it was beaten by the CL-13B Mark VI, which, coincidentally, is also in the German tech tree. Germany also gets basically every MiG-23 variant that Russia has, except the MiG-23 MF is an event vehicle, and the MLA is a side is s- technically a downgrade to the MLD in very, very small places. Germany has a full stack of powerful vehicles and some of the best lineups in the game, with the recent Battle Pass adding a new recoilless rifle light tank, and the recent update adding the Rocket and Automat. The German tree has no shortage of vehicles that fit any playstyle. I think Germany also has the first, is also the most SAM launchers per tree. I mean IR SAM, because they have the Gepard 1A2 and the Ocelot. Meanwhile, other nations only have at least one. Some don't even have IR missile launchers. So let's try to summarize the pros and cons of the German tree. The pros and cons of the German tree is that it has a good lineup for every tier or vehicle rank, excellent individual vehicles, and fits any playstyle. The cons of the German tree is that a lot of its vehicles are not beginner friendly. The main vehicles are also ubiquitous, meaning everyone has seen basically every German vehicle and has a solution to kill each and every one of them. Even the 5.3 Jumbo has a solution to fight the Tigers from the front. Hint, shoot the cupola. And the third con for the German tree is that it's full of beginners, so that these beginners will most likely die and then quit the match after one death. If I were to rate the German tech tree on a scale of 1 to 10 on capability, I'd give it a hard 8. It's a really versatile tech tree that lacks in very few places. Everyone and their mother has already faced German vehicles, so they know how to take one out when that shows up. But if the German player is experienced, he can negate basically all of these shortcomings and come out on top. This is what I think about why Germany suffers. I'm really sorry for how late this video is. I have been so busy these past few weeks that even though I've had the footage, I have the script, I just had so many things to do that I couldn't sit down and record the video. Hopefully, now that my schedule is clearing up, I can slowly make more videos in the meantime. Tomorrow, we'll talk about Airfield AAA, and on Friday, we'll talk about the battle rating changes, while I work on the British video of why nations suffer. Thank you so much for watching the first video of the 10-part Why Nations Suffer series. This is a series dedicated to providing an overview of the weak points of each nation based on my experiences as grinding all of them from low tier to top tier. This is the Dr. MD, and as always, Godspeed.